Nityanandam. Hi, this is Ma Nitya Oviananda. I wanted to talk to you about inner awakening. And I wanted to ask a question. I know there's many people out there who were probably lost, like I was. I really didn't have any religion. I kind of was raised Catholic. And I went through that whole thing. I went to Catholic school, Catholic high school, and then I went on to college, regular college, of course. I went to a university in the city of Chicago, where I was from. And I never felt that Christianity or Catholicism specifically resonated with me at all. I always felt that I wanted to believe in something. I wanted to believe in God and that there's a higher force, and I felt in my gut that that was true. But I just couldn't get into that religion. I couldn't get into the feeling of it. I couldn't understand why they kept saying we're bad and sinners and Jesus died for us. What does that even mean? And all the other things that went with it. It seemed there were a lot of this kind of martyrdom, this kind of, uh, you know, you do unto others what you want to be done to yourself, which, an eye for an eye, like sort of like a revenge thing, and then to scare you into not doing stuff or to threaten you, saying God's watching, and if you do some sin, you'll be, go to hell, and basically anyway you're going to go to hell, because if you don't get absolved from your sins, then you're going to go to hell anyway. I don't know, all this stuff. There's like just like a confusion of mixture of things. So I know that, and I kind of think I might still have some of that I'm now looking into to complete with. But there's a whole guilt pattern set up in the Catholicism. Because I know many of my friends, pretty much all of my friends who are raised Catholic also, especially a lot of Irish Catholics I notice, they are, staunch Catholics, their whole family, from the time they came from Ireland and all, and they settled in the United States, very much Catholic, but they all have that sort of guilt pattern and that kind of fear, of getting sort of in trouble, kind of always this living in fear pattern. And I don't know, it doesn't resonate with me, and it never did, and I kind of questioned it always. So I went away from that. Then I was dating some guy once in high school. And towards the end of my high school, I was about to go to college, and I was dating this guy, and he was a born-again Christian. So whatever that means, you're born again into some other thing that follows strictly the Bible. Now, I don't know if you know this, but many things in the Bible have been changed and twisted around from the original version in order that people in the power can control others. So there's many examples of this where they switch things around to make it convenient for them and control people in the name of religion. And I don't really want to go into it or to, touch anyone's religious sentiments or anything right now. I'm just stating it as an example from my life. So for word, this person would follow the Bible. And that didn't resonate with me either, because I could not believe that humanity was only around for 2,000 years. And I also had an uncle, my poor Vashram uncle, that they also believed this, and we had many discussions. Because actually in my Catholic high school, I had one theology teacher who, in the first year of my school, was kind of a little more diverse and open. And she taught us more than just, this is that you're Catholic and this is this, black and white, that's all. She actually introduced us to some other religions, like a little bit of Buddhism, Judaism, and she brought up a little about Hinduism. And the funny thing is, I kind of remember that mostly. It was kind of a short class on it, but I remember speaking about the Shiva, Brahma, and Vishnu. I remember that, just getting like a sort of an overview. Whether or not it was right or wrong, I don't know, because I don't remember so well what exactly it was. But I remember I worked during college with a lot of people who were Hindus, so we kind of would talk a little bit here and there about it. But I never really understood it, because Hinduism is so vast and deep. If you just Google search Krishna, you'll find like a whole list of his incarnations. And it's enough to make your head spin, and then you just kind of go away from it because you don't understand. So I'm kind of digressing because it's hard to kind of link the two. But I had an interest in Hinduism, especially like I think it was 2005, I had a dream, and it was about Krishna. And so I was wondering, because I told people, I'm like, this blue being came, he landed from a tornado, twisted and landed into this body, and he was blue in color. He had on like this vest and pants, and he looked very beautiful and young, and this kind of thing. And someone was like, oh, it was Krishna or something. So I looked up Krishna at that time, like, okay, well, let's find out more about him. And of course, then I got discouraged because what it said in Wikipedia, because I didn't look much further, unfortunately, for myself. I didn't look much further than that, and I was really confused. Okay, what is Krishna? Who are all these incarnations? And it's like that kind of dry thing, you know, that always made my head kind of shut off. When it was something too like dry and historical or scientific, I would just shut my brain off. So the way it was listed out, that's what happened to me. Anyhow, so I looked into those things. Then, but before that, I kind of looked into paganism, because paganism, basically, in short, what I gathered and perceived, according to where I made it for myself work, was that they worship a feminine consciousness, so like a feminine deity, a goddess, which is the Mother Earth. So to me, that resonated the most with me of all the things I've so far searched, because I was very much connected with the earth, and I still am. Connected with the earth, with nature, doing things outside, feeling that peace, most peaceful and most happy and blissful when I'm outside in the nature. So I would do a lot of variety of outdoor sports, camping, gardening, this kind of thing, as much as I could be outside. I even had a job for some time, working outside for about 2 years. And even in the wintertime when it was freezing cold and snow, I still went out in the cold, and I felt as long as I was dressed for it and warm, I was actually pretty happy. And I never got sick in those 2 years. I never even got really a cold, because I felt so good and happy to be out, in the nature. So that was kind of what I was following. I didn't really buy some of the rituals they would do in the paganism, like Wicca, forgot what it is already, like the kind of paganism that they would do, and they do certain rituals and all that kind of thing. I never got into that so much. And a little bit I've looked at tarot cards and, different things, tarot cards. But all that kind of stuff was kind of interesting, but I never really dabbled much in that. I just knew that the earth I loved, and I did like some of that artwork, and I was into kind of the Celtic thing, the Irish traditions, that ancient traditions, worshipping the earth. And what did Stonehenge mean? I went there. What did, these ancient cultures, that were like descendants of, I don't even know what, like they were supposedly descendants of fairies, and all these kinds of things, these tales. It was just interesting. But I kind of went on like that, but nothing, it didn't grip me, but it was part of me. Like I felt that at least the Mother Earth thing was part of me and what I believed. But I still went on kind of searching, and I wasn't satisfied. And so through the years, whatever, then I looked at Buddhism, because that actually seemed very interesting to me. But I think we're having another truck going by every time I talk to you. There's a tractor coming. See, we're getting ready for Maha Sadashivoham here at the Bengaluru Adina. So there's a lot of activity here. And I'm working outside now, actually, which is very nice. And every time I try to talk to you on the videos, there's a tractor going by. Anyway, so Buddhism. I was looking into Buddhism, and I never went so far into that either, because something about it didn't resonate with me either. I think it was the absence of a divinity in a way, because in Buddhism, they give the list of the different dharmas and the different things to follow. But it seemed very, I don't know, I don't want to say like, just kind of, it was missing some color, some spark, it seemed kind of bland, maybe. Bland is the right word. So part of it resonated with me, having that stillness, doing the meditation, kind of, I always liked seeing the Buddhist monks, something about seeing them, and they always had such a peaceful feeling. And I always enjoyed that very much. But I don't know, I still didn't get into Buddhism. It didn't fully resonate with me. So then of course, one thing led to another, and I met Swamiji. And to kind of speed up my story a little bit, I had some very wonderful close friends who came to see Swamiji in 2009. So I've already explained kind of the story in the beginning, so you'll have to look at my very first couple videos and see. But they came here, and they met Swamiji, and then a year later I came to Inner Awakening. And then I started to discover at that point what it was that I was missing, what it was that I was trying to fill in. Because what I discovered here was that Hinduism is a very colorful, vibrant, lively tradition. It's not just a dead, religion or a dead tradition where people pray. I mean, if you look at it and think of it, a lot of churches have Jesus hanging on the cross dead, basically dead on the cross. And that's what the kind of worship focal point is. Obviously, he rose from the dead, and all of those things happened in some specific way. But at that point, just seeing that kind of thing, especially the church I was at, it was a lifelike figure. So it's not very like happy, right? It's not very celebratory. And everything, the prayers are kind of very much monotone, and there's really no celebration. And even the music is kind of with that organ, you know, it's like da-da-da-da, you know, like some kind of movie, like Dracula. Anyway, so, but with Hinduism, when you're listening to the rituals and the chanting, the Sanskrit chanting, you can actually feel the vibration of those words. Because they're not just words, they're actually syllables of the universe. The words vibrate in your space and your energy levels, your energetic system. So when I came here to India and I started to experience that, I mean, the very first day I came, the temple was there. And we came to the temple and we were greeted, you know, with garlands, and the drums were going, and, you know, I forget Carnatic, I forget the exact name, but those guys with the horn, it's like the clarinet, or that specific, it's a specific temple, and I'm sorry the name escapes me now, but it's a really something that moves your being, your blood and your being. It's so something about it, like it really puts you into space. So when I came to the temple and all that, and then I laid my eyes on Nityanandeshwara and Nityanandeshwari, and just those eyes of Shiva sitting there and his face smiling at me, I just felt an instant connection and energy, because I was a little nervous being there. I came all the way from US, traveled all that way, and I was jet lagged and everything else, and I felt a little like apprehensive, like what is going to happen? What am I doing? But as soon as I saw him, this was before I even saw, oh yeah, I already saw Swamiji and all, but I still felt like, you know, the program didn't start yet. And I was starting to feel a little like that energy field was kind of, you know, it's very intense and all, and I just really wasn't sure what to make of everything. Having traveled so far, it's a different culture. But when I saw, you know, Sadashiva sitting there with Devi, I just felt totally at home. I felt my Kundalini waking up, and I'm sitting there, and I started to get blissed out just sitting there. So I felt right at home immediately. And then it's funny because, I mean, that's just one story of many. But the other day Swamiji was saying, you know, I'm a living Hindu, you know. And I'm a living Hindu. And he's saying how, you know, in Hinduism, there's no conversion like in other religions. They don't lie to you or force you to do anything. They do many tactics here to convert people into other religions. And I'm saying conversion because it's a violence. It's not like a transformational thing. It's not like you're deciding to become that, but you're feeling some little bit of threat or some little bit of guilt or something, which makes you want to switch your religion. And that's what's going on here in India, actually. Like a lot of people, let's say in poor villages or communities where people maybe have less and they're concerned about their family, some mission will come in and say, hey, you know, why don't you join our mission and, you know, sign up and convert, and you'll be assured to have food and clothing for your family all the time. You never have to worry again. So, you know, in some cases, what is a guy going to do? You know, he's trying to support his family, and for whatever reason, he's insecure. He doesn't have the right image of himself because he's been battered and given the wrong idea about Hinduism from this medias that are playing these things on the TV, and also then these people threatening, saying, you know, you don't have much money, you don't have anything to feed your family, you're going to lose your people, your wife, your kids, so you better come here and sign up. You know, that's a threat, and that's a violence. That's a violent conversion. That's not because somebody wants to do it. And the sickening thing is, I've also seen in temples how they put on like things to make the, you know, they put on the vibhuti on Mother Mary or Jesus or something. I mean, come on, it's kind of disgusting. But so it's done in a negative way is what my problem is with it. It's not like somebody says, you know, I really Christianity resonates with me, I want to join and I want to be a Christian. Okay, great. But when somebody's violently converting you and threatening you in that way for your basic needs, that's totally wrong. Totally wrong. But anyway, the Hinduism is the religion of transformation. And especially when you're meeting somebody like Swamiji, an avatar, he is wakening up your being. He's introducing you to yourself. So when you get into that space and you have that understanding, you start to realize what a beautiful tradition it is. And you feel a transformation happening and you understand, hey, I'm a living Hindu. Of course, it's not maybe, actually, it is, because I completely, without even realizing it, I became a Hindu in the 3 weeks of Inner Awakening program. So what I wanted to say is, it happened so effortlessly and so seamlessly that there wasn't even any question or anything. It just happened, just like that, naturally. So, and it was a beautiful thing, and my life has been transformed ever since. So I just wanted to share that with you, because I know many people think that they don't believe in God, or they think they're atheists. Sometimes I would wonder myself, but there was always something in me that believed in something more than this. So I never really was an atheist. I just wanted to feel that way because I wanted to be grumpy about it, I guess. So I know there's people out there like that. So I wanted to speak to you and say, hey, why don't you give it a try? Come to Inner Awakening, see what it's about. At least you'll have a celebratory 3 weeks of your life in a new culture. Whether you transform into Hinduism or not, who cares? You can go back and you can say that you experienced such a rich, beautiful tradition and how much you enjoyed it, and it made your life that much better. And being in the presence of Swamiji is something that you cannot compare or replace or change into anything else. It's just a beautiful thing, and you'll never forget it in your life. So whether you just come here one time and you'll see how your life transforms on its own. So you can do whatever you want, but you just know that no matter what, everything's open for you to come and check it out here. So come to Inner Awakening, innerawakening.org, sign up, and come experience the oldest living tradition, the oldest living religion on the planet Earth, still kicking strong, and in a happy, colorful, celebratory way. Come and enjoy with us. Thank you so much for watching. Nityanandam.